for it? Let's see.
All right, let's fight.
Are you gonna go for it?
I'm gonna go for it.
Let's do it. I think yeah. The Great War has begun. Carthage and the Seleucids, these mighty empires, have finally come together for one thing and one thing only: to destroy the will of each other. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Total War Rome 2 video. And this battle was taken from the head-to-head between me and Republic of Play. We are finally at the stage where our two huge empires, after 16 episodes, are ready to fight one another, and it should just be so much fun from this point on. We did have a few issues with Darren's reforms, but I think we have sorted them out now. So from Wednesday on, which is when we're going to be doing this campaign next, we should be just ready to go and diving right back into this head-to-head as these two huge empires clash. And this is going to be the first battle from the head-to-head. I am playing as, obviously, as the Seleucids, and Darren is playing as Carthage. The first time our two factions have actually engaged one another, which is crazy because we've been playing this head-to-head for some time right now, but it's just kind of taken this long to, you know, for our empires to grow and then finally collide into one another. And I would have put up on screen as well the kind of how the battle armies did look, but this is a 2-stack of mine defending in Larissa, and there are 3 of Darren's armies attacking me. However, even though that sounds really bad for me, this is a city battle, so we do have a 40-minute timer to make the engagement really interesting. And as well as that, Darren can't use all 60 of his units. Darren has to obviously, you know, stick to the capabilities of Rome 2, and that is that you can only have 40 units from one faction inside a game. So it's kind of like a 2v2, but with constant reinforcements for Darren. So he's only going to be able to utilize them reinforcements when he starts to lose men, which again is going to be really interesting to see how these battles do develop when we do fight in these huge engagements. You know, it definitely gives the advantage to the defender because he can deploy where his reinforcements are coming on. As well as that, I obviously have my reinforcements coming on in this battle, and they're going to be slowly trickling in from the far north. It's so annoying I can't use my reinforcements inside the city, but it's kind of just is how it is. And I'm obviously going to try and get rid of all of my garrison units as quickly as possible so that my rest of my men can come on, because like I was just saying, I also have to abide by the rules of Rome 2 Total War, and I can only bring 40 units. So these garrison units are taking up valuable slots of you know, of men that I could really use from my other army that is, you know, waiting to come on from reinforcements. So first off, I thought I could retreat these guys. For some reason, in the heat of a moment, I realized I couldn't, so I do just end up charging Darren. And this isn't also like awful. You know, Darren could try and be a little bit cheeky and just run away from these reinforcements to delay mine, but neither of us would ever do that. You know, we'd just kill them, you know, let them charge in, and, you know, whatever damage they do, they do. And it's kind of up to Darren just to kill these quickly, because that way he can move on to the city, and also I get my reinforcements on into the city a little bit faster. So army-wise as well, whilst the battle is kind of folding in, Darren's reinforcements come on, my reinforcements come on, I've got a pretty decent army here. I've got, you know, some lowly Furios here, so I've got about 4 units of these Furios who aren't my best units. They're kind of like a filler unit, a unit I just throw in and let die, as they're not really the best unit in the world. I do have some of my pikemen, my bronze shields, which are obviously going to be a solid unit to withstand. I then also have my elite Seleucid Royal Guard here, looking absolutely amazing with their kind of chainmail over their faces. It looks so cool. They've kind of got like that Eastern/Greek feel. I also have a handful of Cretan archers and Rhodian slingers, some more pikemen, and some infantry as well. Yeah, more of my crappy Furios right here. And yeah, just some more bowmen, and then a decent amount of cavalry as well. Reinforcement wise, I do have a bunch of silver shield pikemen coming on, so these guys are obviously nothing to mess with, and I want to get them inside the city as quickly as possible. I also believe I do have some really good swordsmen as well in this reinforcement army. Some of my Furios swordsmen, or some of my Forax swordsmen, some of my really good units, which I obviously want to try and get into the field as quickly as possible, because, you know, I just need to get into the city before Darren tries to envelop it and cut my army in two. Luckily though, with my garrisons just charging out, this does, you know, severely slow him up. Not that it's going to do any damage whatsoever, as Darren comes in for a beautiful cavalry charge. You know, these reinforcements aren't going to do anything here, but they're just like there to die so I can get the rest of my army on. And Darren is going to oblige there, surrounding me. I do kind of come in for a cavalry charge, though, just because, you know, I want Darren to kill these, and Darren's going to kill these. doesn't mean I have to like just, you know, kind of abandon them. You know, if I could choose, obviously I would make it so that my reinforcements, my garrison units aren't here, but, you know, it is what it is. So we get a nice little cavalry charge off. Wasn't awful, wasn't great. I think I managed to kill like 4 or 5 of them. Just kind of disrupt his formation a little bit. That's what I'm trying to do as much as I can. Just kind of disrupt him, slow him up. As the 40-minute battle timer is huge in these head-to-head battles. Like, they provide us with just so many interesting battles where, like, the last couple minutes of the engagement literally define everything. You know, you definitely notice whenever you come back and watch these battles, like the Siege of Pella and a few other battles we've had which have gone down to the wire in these 40 minutes, and like the decision making and like the, you know, not dilly-dallying around makes so much difference in these engagements, because, you know, you are playing against the clock, and it, you know, it always comes down to the last couple minutes of these battles. When it's a close siege battle, it's literally always the last couple minutes, and it makes us so many exciting engagements. We'll also take a look at Darren's army. So Darren has a lot of cavalry, which I'm kind of happy he does. Darren generally plays, from what I found, a heavy cavalry contingent in his armies, and that generally obviously suits open field battles. You know, he can then utilize his, you know, he generally brings about 7 to 8 cavalry, including general, in all of his armies, and that obviously is going to heavily benefit land battles, whereas in the siege battles I'm going to have that advantage, especially when I have the better pikes than he does. I think he does have pikes in his army, but my pikes are obviously going to be so much better, so I definitely have the advantage when it comes to these field battles, and that's generally what I want to be, you know, utilizing. He does also obviously have Cretan archers. He also, oh no, these aren't Cretan archers, these are the special Carthaginian archers he gets from his capital. I'm not sure if he gets them from anywhere else. I'm not actually too sure. But he also has Rhodian slingers, no, Balearic slingers, sorry, which are pretty scary. He also has some Apulian infantry, which are really good, from Rome. So it's really cool, you know, the Carthaginian army just suits so well for the roster. And right here as well, I'm going to be going ahead and kicking off the battle right now with a little bit of skirmishing, some rocks coming in, just finding their mark on my Rhodian slingers, and I'm going to bring back my Rhodian slingers. Don't really want to duke it out with his Balearic slingers. I kind of would prefer him to try and focus down other stuff. I have also now got my silver shields inside the city, which is a huge help, and now the garrison is dying, the rest of my forces coming in. So yeah, I think I have 2 or 3 of these swordsmen right here. They're really good, but again, look, all my reinforcements are heavily depleted, not heavily, but slightly depleted by about 30 men. That adds up, that really does. So this army was the army that took out the garrison at Larissa, the province we're fighting on. And because of that, you know, I'm going to be down 30 men, which can make a huge difference. It really can. Especially in my cavalry as well, because the cavalry fight is going to be brutal out here. You know, I've got a decent amount, but we are obviously outnumbered when it comes to cavalry, so we have to be kind of careful right there. And Darren's going to kick off this fight by charging forward his infantry line, getting these Apulians, who actually have amazing stats: 14 melee attack, 20 melee defense. That's pretty crazy. Definitely outmatching me, and they're going to go flying in right there against my line, and the battle is about to begin. I'm also just sorry to cut the mood right there, but I'm also just going to quickly turn up the effects, because it kind of sounds like the music's a little bit too loud, and maybe the effects are a little bit too quiet, because I want to hear the men screaming, I want to hear the men fighting. There we go. That's exactly what we want to have happening right now. We're looking beautiful. Yeah, also, sorry as well, my reshader is really, my GPU's been messing around recently, and I don't really know the issue with it, so I've had to turn off my reshader to give my GPU a little bit of a break. So hopefully the game is running smoothly. I don't really know what's going on, and hopefully I don't have to buy a new GPU, because I do not have the money to do that right now in lockdown. So hopefully, you know, it sorts itself out, or maybe it's just I get a new NVIDIA patch at some point. But anyway, yeah, the fighting is now going to continue, and Darren obviously made the right move here. His entire reinforcements from his secondary army aren't here yet, but he needs to be quick. We've got that 40-minute timer. He can't just sit around and form up a perfect army and then charge in. And honestly, he doesn't need to, right? It's not like I've got my 40 units I can sally out and surround him. So starting this attack early is good. I mean, he has already, you know, spent 9 minutes, you know, moving his forces into position. And he's going to be hammering me with his missiles. He does also have a lot of javelins. And you got to remember as well, he has an entire 20 stack that is going to be slowly filtering in as soon as he loses men. So that's even more reason why he just wants to be aggressive. He just wants to get his men stuck in. He could even think about retreating his cavalry as well after our cavalry engagement and going from there. So Darren does have a pretty big cavalry army over here, but it's currently hidden in the high shrubbery. And I've managed to move in my reinforcement cavalry as well into the shrubs here. So hopefully I can catch him a little bit off guard, force him to push forward. He also has his cavalry over here as well. So this is going to be like the first major part of this battle. We have a few battle lines clashing, but it's going to really come down to the cavalry because I have to slow Darren up here because of the fact that I need to protect my reinforcements. If Darren has free roam to hit my reinforcements here, I'd be in a really, really bad situation. And I've managed right here to get around behind his skirmisher cavalry. Obviously, the skirmisher cavalry, these are Numidians. They would just flee for their lives when I try to chase them. But I managed to get around the side a little bit, which is really good, and pin these guys down. So as you can see, I sprung my little trap, but just kind of outmaneuvered him a little bit when he was looking at other stuff. And I'm just going to kind of come around and surround that. And that's going to prompt Darren. Darren has to react to this. So he's going to go ahead and charge out his cavalry. But luckily, I have my own cavalry hiding in the ways. And we are going to finally hit into one another. Again, I think I've basically just got citizen cavalry. So my cavalry contingent in these armies aren't anything crazy good. I have some really good general cavalry. Besides that, it's kind of good. And I'm going to make sure I pursue him right here. Try and hit him as he tries to pull out. I don't think he realized I had as much cavalry here as I did. I also have access to the infantry as well, so my infantry can pour into this fight kind of quickly if we want to. And there you go, the cavalry fight is going to continue on, and we're going to fully commit here. I don't really know why I have a unit just sitting here. Hopefully that will commit soon. Bit of a misplay by my part. And you can see as well, I've managed to catch down a decent amount of his cavalry. I'm going to just try and push them off into the corners, which is good. He just have more horse coming over. But yeah, we're going to just fully commit to this fight, get all my cavalry in. As I said, lucky for me, I have this infantry that can really come in, and I have one of my general units as well who is rushing out of this fight. But yeah, the cavalry engagement is going to be brutal. It really is. And for me, I can just kind of commit everything I have to this fight. And yeah, just try and win it. You know, it's just, and again, I'm just biding time for my reinforcements to get in. And right here, you see, I do quickly go ahead and commit some of my spears over here. And this is one of the advantages of playing the defensive cavalry fight. It means I can commit infantry to this fight a lot quicker, especially if I can get my generals out here as well. And you can see Darren's bringing more men over there, but I've got another unit of cavalry and a unit of swords rushing over here to help out in that fight. When it comes to the rest of the fight as well, you can see Darren is pushing hard with his Pulians, but I brought up some pikes now, so the pikes are going to be just covering this street and doing some decent damage. You know, Darren's obviously going to be using all of his missiles to clear out my pikes. I've also got some of my Royal Spear Guard as well, fighting heavily in the streets, trying to push back his Pulians. But that, you know, that 14 melee defense is insane. That's probably almost, I mean, these are my Seleucid Royal Guard, and they've only got 25. And only 11 attack, and the Pulians have 14 attack. Luckily as well, my Royal Guard do probably have an insane amount of armor as well if we find them. These guys, they have, what? Only 47 armor. Isn't that crazy? The Pulians have, you know, just a little bit less armor as well. So they're a really solid infantry unit. They really are. I've also, for some reason, Darren has some of his archers engaged into my pikes. I'm not sure if they're meant to be, but my pikes are going to be over on this street doing some pretty decent jobs. But again, you know, Darren just has to wear me down. He has the numbers, and eventually, you know, his numbers will be absolutely massive in this battle. Darren's general is locked into combat right now, and I see his general being locked into this combat, and I'm just like, he has to go down. I also hope this battle hasn't desynced either, because my general's just sitting here. No, maybe he was just like around here. I get another good cavalry charge off on Darren's general, and I'm just basically stopping his general. If I can cut the head off the snake here, that's going to be a huge help in this battle. And he's trying to pull out his general. He's trying to pull out some of his cavalry. I'm just continuing to pursue him, making sure that, you know, he pays for every single inch he tries to escape. I've got my elite Lancer cavalry now moving in. Look how amazing these guys look with their golden armor. So goddamn good. And they're going to charge into Darren's back of his general and hopefully bring him down. Once again, catch him there. Pursue him and just do as much damage as possible to him. Yeah, managed to engage him, which is great. Got more cavalry reinforcing. The rest of his cavalry is going to continue to roam around and engage and just reinforce other sections of the battle as Darren tries to pull out to the best of his abilities, but kind of struggling. Also, do remember as well, guys, that in these huge battles, you know, in these literally, like, you know, this is like a 20,000 man battle, 18,000 man battle. The battles are kind of laggy when we're playing them, so a lot of there's definitely some delay when you're clicking. So when you do see units sitting around, just imagine, you know, we're either looking elsewhere or, you know, we've clicked something and gone on. So this is another huge part of Darren's army. He has about 5 units of elephants in his forces, which are going to be doing some serious damage, right? There's such a good shock infantry. And this is the type of unit I want to be focusing all my missiles on, so that's why I'm saving my Cretan archers as best as I can. But yeah, right now, you know, his missiles are doing great. We are exchanging some missiles between one another, but it's pretty brutal over on that side. You can see I'm bringing over some of my Cretan archers right now just to try and deal with this elephant problem that I have, because these elephants can just do insane damage, and even the javelin men on top also really collide very nicely into my battle line. You know, they rack up, you know, 10-15 kills of like 1 unit, and I don't really have the men to waste right there. He's going to pull them out, though, I believe, as I bring up some archers, which is, you know, a smart move. Don't want to overcommit them. Elephants are definitely more of that shock infantry, and if you're not making that route happen, if you're not breaking them, it's good just to pull them out of the battle, you know, which is obviously exactly what he did. Missile fighters, you can see, I have managed to pick down a handful of these slingers, so that's good. But I've exchanged my slingers for them, which, I don't know, maybe isn't the best thing in the world, but I guess as long as they're not shooting my pikes, it's not awful that I'm exchanging slingers right now. If you take a look at the overall battlefield, you can see that I've come off very good in this cavalry fight. Considering Darren had a lot of cavalry, it's been pretty decent, and I've also managed to kill his general here. Oh no, please don't say the battle has desynced. We'll see what happens. Oh, so it does seem like the battle has desynced a little bit, but just everything's playing out exactly how it did play out. It's just, if a unit is standing still, just imagine that it's dead, okay? So at this point, I did kill Darren's general, and if anything else massively happens, I don't think it has. It looks like everything is playing off pretty well so far. Yeah, besides Darren's general still being alive for some reason, I did kill this general unit, which is nice. So yeah, if you see any unit kind of just standing around not doing anything, it probably means it's dead. So just ignore that for now. The rest of the battle is playing out perfectly. Like, these guys are taken care of as well. These guys don't exist anymore, obviously. Yeah, that's kind of annoying, but oh well. So now my rest of my reinforcements do start to move on, which is good. I do have some of my missiles slowly making on. So these are Rhodian slingers, so they're going to be really helpful. However, Darren has taken the initiative, and he has started to bring round more of his infantry round the back of the settlement, really trying to just stretch my defenses, because I don't really have the numbers to deal with this. I'm going to advance forward more of my spears, just trying to engage these pikemen before they can set up, which is obviously really good. I'm probably going to end up bringing up more men. I do get a nice little charge off onto these swordsmen, these Brutii infantry from the south of Italy. And my cavalry is going to come in again, just trying to disrupt this formation as best as I can. Just try and cause some breaks, some rear charges. Again, a pretty nice rear charge there into the side. I'm going to have to definitely reinforce this. Darren is also pushing heavily on every single flank right there. My Furias are going to be struggling to kill these Brutii infantry. But I do have some silver shield swordsmen in here, which are going to be able to kind of, you know, go toe-to-toe with them and really push them back. Darren has also used a lot of his missiles as well to whittle down my pikes on these streets. So you can really see this battle is a battle of attrition. And even though Darren did lose the cavalry fight, I managed to kill his general. Even though I managed to, you know, take down a lot of his Numidian horses over here. That's kind of fine for him, because he can slowly bring on more reinforcements. I can't see them all because they're off line of sight. But Darren is, you know, bringing in more men as cavalry die, as infantry die. He can just bring on more and more, and kind of almost Darren wanted that cavalry engagement as quickly as possible, because then his horses die, and he can bring on more infantry and more archers and more javelins, which is going to be so crucial to this battle, and more elephants as well. So, you know, having that cavalry fight as quickly as possible was actually really important. You can see I did manage to massacre his horses though, which, you know, it was kind of a fine exchange to me, right? It meant that my reinforcements could basically get onto the field of battle a little bit safer. And it meant that he could utilize that a little bit more effectively. So my missiles are just trying to get over here as quickly as possible. And fighting is going on fiercely. So it's mainly just about these 3 streets right now. Obviously, Darren is moving around a large part of his army around this side, but that's going to be a little bit slower. And I do have my pikemen here as well, ready to form up whenever the time does come. But it's all about pushing through these streets. And luckily, you know, Darren has managed to kill my Furios here. I think there's hardly any of them left right there. Yeah, they're very close to breaking. They've lost over half their men. And considering they have 300 men to begin with, that's no easy feat right there. Or no hard feat, you know. They have lost a lot of men. But luckily my pikes are there in reinforcement. I've got another unit of pikes back there as well. Darren is using his missiles very effectively. He has brought back his infantry here as well, realizing that it was kind of a slow push against the Seleucus, and he might as well just wait. I think he does have a bunch of reinforcements slowly moving on as well, which will come into my view any second now. So I think he just doesn't really mind too much that, you know, he doesn't have to break through that immediately. Even though this is ideally the place he does want to break through because, you know, there's no pikes here. There's just heavy spearmen. So that's kind of where his infantry do want to be. His elephants are roaming around here as well, maybe looking for a charge off on these pikes. Even though I believe pikes do really well against elephants. They have a bonus here. They have a really good bonus against elephants. If we take a look at the pikes. So they have just as good a bonus against elephants as they do against cavalry. So pikes are actually decent at dealing with them. Another cavalry engagement going on out here. Darren's going to charge in his Numidians. I'm going to counter charge at the last second. And we are going to engage right there. Just again, I think Darren is just trying to get rid of some of his cavalry now at this point. He's getting some cavalry around the side though, and I'm being slow to react. I felt like I did block this off, but maybe I abandoned this unit of infantry here and brought up my pikemen to defend this little gap here because we have a very heavy engagement right there. And Darren has put his pikes down, but my swords are engaged into them. Like, this is something you want to always be so careful of when it comes to pikes, is putting them down in the right position. And yeah, right now the pike fight is pretty fierce. Darren is doing some good job of getting around the side of me right here. But I am also doing the same. He has also got some a complete envelopment on my infantry here, and I'm surprised I haven't pushed up my battle line yet to help out. I do obviously have pikemen, silver shields, raring to go. For the most part, I'm just trying to get my silver shields into this fight because I know that, you know, they are silver shields. They're a unit that can just hold the line, repel him, and I think at some point soon, Darren is going to have to reform his line because he's kind of just got a bit of a mess. I've got like a lot of infantry moving in, and Darren also does have his sacred band here. These bad boys, the elite men of Carthage. Insane stats for a phalanx unit for sure. And my cavalry has managed to scare off a decent amount of Darren's horses, stopping this unit from being completely enveloped. So they can just keep on fighting. Super high morale. Yeah. So yeah, I think like this unit is dead. This unit is dead as well. So just ignore that. Got some of my cavalry moving around. And I was thinking about maybe moving my missiles. Like, I have some missiles here. I was thinking about maybe setting them up like along here and just shooting down this way if I can. Could also bring them around as well to try and scare off some of Darren's cavalry as well, which is putting a lot of pressure on me. And there you go. You're starting to see a lot more reinforcements trickling in now. You've got some very heavy hoplites. You've got some more cavalry coming onto the field. Because again, that cavalry fight, even Darren outnumbered me in that cavalry fight, and he didn't even have the third of his horses. You know, he's got an entire other army just sitting back, not doing anything, waiting to come onto the field. And yeah, Darren is putting a lot of pressure on my pikes. You know, just the constant, you know, tiring of my men. It creates gaps in the battle line, and Darren does, you know, slowly start to abuse that. He's pulling his men not through, like he's clicking in front of, behind my pikes. That's just to obviously get more men into combat. So he's utilizing that as best as he can. You know, just like selecting all, right-clicking once or twice, and then the men just clump up more. It's like the way to get more of your men into combat in Rome 2. And it's going to be, yeah, a lot more effective. That's exactly what you want to be doing against the pikemen. You're going to be taking casualties doing it, obviously, because you're going to be having your guard down as you march through the pikes, but it's going to be doing a pretty good job. Again, this fight is still just raging on right here. And luckily, my reinforcements, I think, have just turned up as well to really help out. I've got some more spearmen who are over in this cavalry engagement, have also now turned up to reinforce. And you can actually see, I am actually breaking these pikemen. I've managed to hit them from the side with my own silver shields, and I'm also hitting them with missiles as well. So these pikemen and their morale is actually going down very, very quickly. However, Darren is bringing over the big boys. The elephants are maneuvering their way to his flank, which again, I think is great. I think elephants are awesome at killing cavalry. Once again, I do manage to engage these guys and kind of push Darren on the back foot, but just having a couple units of infantry here. And that's going to allow me to take care of a couple units of cavalry. Darren is going to be bringing over a unit of his swordsmen, but not really an issue too much for me whatsoever. I also believe I do have a unit of, yeah, I don't know really what happened here. These ballistas did get in the fight, so that's a little bit weird, but the rest of the battle is happening exactly like it did. My rest of my missiles have turned up now, which is great on this side, so they can start hammering in to Darren's units, really starting to pick them up, because this is just a big blob of death. Darren's elephants are going to come in and actually get very close to breaking my my thorax. right here, which is obviously not good. Taking a look at the casualties going down. The elephants are slaughtering them. And the morale on that unit is dropping. And yeah, that was a really good charge by Darren utilizing that, because he broke a unit of 100 Silver Shield Swordsmen, which is brutal. I'm going to be able to take out a load of elephants in retaliation, though. My missiles are finding their mark onto the elephants. That's exactly what I saved my Cretan archers for. They're going to be hammering it down. Rest of the slow grind, Darren has now pushed down. So if we take a look at the overall battlefield, you can see reinforcements trickling on. Darren is assaulting me on a lot of these positions as best as he can. And yeah, he's also hitting some of my horses here with some of his new minions. So his reinforcement cavalry coming on and actually slaughtering this unit of horses here. Wow. That unit got decimated. Absolutely decimated. I don't actually remember that happening, but hopefully it did. Hopefully that's not the desync. But I know that he can't come down this street, obviously, because I do have barricades here. So you can see this street is completely open, but I have a unit here that can quickly come in and reinforce. And once again, I repelled Darren with a pikeman, send him packing and forcing him to reform. Over on this side, he throws in more of his elephants once more. These are the more lightly armored elephants, so I'm hoping that my Seleucid guard can put the pressure back on them and send them flying. I also believe I do maybe throw up some more missiles. Bring my general up here as well to pop a nice little rally. You can see Darren's morale is not looking great. He's having to pull back here, and I'm repelling him. He's trying to reform his battle line, but the time is ticking. Only like 15 minutes left in this battle, so things aren't super clean for him. I believe also I do now manage to break some of the elephants, which is awesome news. They're such a scary foe, and the missiles are just hammering into this blob. So yeah, I basically killed the 2 elephants. Darren did commit over to this left-hand side, and I also managed to, repel the elephants over on this side. Did they die to my spikes? If they did, that's amazing. I didn't see that in the battle. That is huge if they died to my spikes. And I also, I'm doing a decent job over here, reinforcing this side with another unit of Royal Guard. And Darren's realizing that, he needs to continue to put pressure on me on every single flank. So he's going to take a decent amount of these units, and he's going to bring them around this side and start harassing this part. And just kind of, again, stretch my formation, which is exactly what you need to do. Especially when he outnumbers me. He is like constant reinforcement trickle in. And also, I am dropping men inside the city as well. Fairly fast. And what's also pretty crazy as well is the cavalry fight is still going on. Very back and forth. So this part didn't actually desync. It's just neither of us did utilize this flank until the last second. I think he couldn't because of my cavalry defending it. And at this point, I am going to fall back, try and form up a bit of a stronger battle line here. Try and kind of, stop any flank from coming in. My silver shields are doing amazing. They are repelling as his phalanx does get a little bit too close to me. But I think what I decided to do is, to try basically to fall back my battle line as best as I can and just kind of set up a more solid formation here where my pikes can utilize their range. And I think I saw Darren doing the same. I think he tried to reform some of his pikes, so I seized this, I broke a handful of units right here, and I saw Darren reforming a line, so I was like, damn, I'm going to reform the line here, form a stronger line of pikes, and just kind of defend this rear position. My missiles are doing a great job, and the cavalry, I can't believe the cavalry fight is still going in. I also think at this point a lot of this cavalry is dead, so kind of just ignore anything you don't see moving for like 5 minutes is probably dead already. But as you can see, I am running low on men. I don't really have any more reserves. And especially now that Darren is going to be coming around this side of the battle and kind of pressuring me on this side as well. All it really takes at this point is one breach. Realistically, that's all it takes is one breach into my line. And then I don't have any reserves. I have one unit of reserves here and my missiles. And that's realistically about it. All I have to plug a gap. So if Darren makes one hole in any of my defenses, I have nothing to reinforce that hole with. And it'll be catastrophic for me. So, yeah, right now, the timer is my best friend. And we have to just kind of just defend for the rest of the 40 minutes. Darren has more cavalry coming up. I think, honestly, at this point in the battle, what Darren should have done is just retreat this cavalry off the field. Yes, it's good, but I think he has a lot of missiles and infantry that can still come on. And if you, a fresh unit of archers at this point in the battle after 30 minutes of fighting is insane. A lot of my units will be battered and bloodied, meaning that archers just come in huge. 3 units of Rhodian slingers, or Balearic slingers for Darren, come in. They'll decimate this unit of pikemen right now. absolutely clear off the field of battle, you know. So I'm really surprised that he didn't. But again, in the heat of the moment, it's quite hard to think of these strategies. We're already commanding so much. You're already rushing. You're trying your best to do anything you can. I mean, you know, the battle is fierce right now. So I'm really happy I did manage to fall back and set up this pike line of silver shields now. I mean, it's fierce. It's extremely difficult. For some reason, this front line isn't putting their pikes down, but hopefully that counts because they should have their pikes down. There you go. Sorting out now. And now he's going to get aggressive. I don't know why he's committing his cavalry to this fight. I think he just wants to try his best to get just like hammer that nail in. And again, doesn't matter if he loses. Maybe that's why. Maybe he's throwing in cavalry onto pikes because it's like if he loses it, he just gets archers on the field. The timer is ticking. Same over here as well. He's got some of his new minions, but my silver shields are covering this side of the battle. And he's putting a lot of pressure on me. You can see one of my units of pikes are very depleted right now on red morale. And yeah, all it takes is one breach. Like literally, mark my words, one breach in my formation and this battle is over. I have nothing to stop him. He can just smash through, envelop my pikes. If my pikes get enveloped, the battle is over. So all he has to do is just keep on pushing, keep on putting the pressure on. And that's what I'm saying. Like one unit of pikes at this point in the battle, oh my god. I mean, a couple units of missiles like javelins at this point in the battle would just be insane. It would literally just be over for me. And I think he does have a couple more reinforcing. He also has a unit of elephants left. But yeah, a lot of his missiles are, you know, just coming into the fight now. Like, these are Balearic slingers. And I think he has a couple more units of these as well scattered around coming in. And there's only 9 minutes left of the battle, and it's going to take them like 3 or 4 minutes to get here. And then, you know, if they were here a couple minutes earlier, they could really just kind of keep on hammering down my formation. I also have a unit of infantry. I don't know what this unit is doing, but apparently have that unit there still. My Balearic Slingers are trading off quite nicely with a unit of his javelins. Happy to have this fight go on. Cavalry fight is still just a mess right now. More infantry ready to push in at moment's cause, and you know I'm happy with this. I'm happy, like I am taking casualties, but his pikes against hoplites, and even though the hoplites do kind of decently against pikes when they close the distance, I'm kind of managing to keep him at range a bit. You know, he is a little bit dangerous, but everywhere else we're doing good. Another cavalry fight as well coming in. Don't really know why. Maybe, yeah, as I said, maybe he's just trying to break through this small tiny gap here, or he's just trying to kill his cavalry so that he can get on it more infantry and more missiles. That's probably more likely the case. I also have a unit of my Seleucid Royal Guard engaged as well. Still out here, kind of just slowing up his formation, and that's just all I'm trying to do right now is just delay his army as best as I can. He's actually got a unit of his pikes over here as well from Macedon. And yeah, they're going to be slaughtering my bronze shields. But his lines are thicker and bigger. They're pretty brutal. I am now using the last of my missile fire now as well. I kind of realized that this is probably the breach that would happen. This is a position that, you know, is most likely to break. Last time this unit almost broke, and I'm just going to use the rest of my missile fire trying to kill these guys. If I can cause a mass break here, then I can reform, resupply a unit of pikes elsewhere to a breach, which would just be absolutely huge. And I am doing some good morale. Like morale-wise, I am inflicting casualties, but Darren still has that unit of elephants that could just break through at any moment. Also, these hoplites, holy crap, they are insane. I enveloped this unit of hoplites with Seleucid Royal Guard, and they just held the line. And this is an area recruitment unit, which is crazy. They have 44 morale, and I just could not break them. So Darren gets some amazing men from Italy. Like his area of recruitment men from Italy with the general buffs can go toe-to-toe with my latest reform units, which is great. It's really cool. You know? Yeah, I'm definitely using a lot of my area of recruitment units. I love, like, just in DEI, how area of recruitment units with the right general can just be just as deadly as normal units. Like, I've got a bunch of axemen in a ton of my armies in the north, which come from Thrace and come from Pergamon. And, like, they're just, like, my wall-clearing units, which just go into a breach and just cut anything down. And they'll be great against a unit like this, you know? Over on this side as well, he's got more of his Apulians as well, which is really crucial. If I can knock off, like, if I can invade into Italy in our head-to-head, and I can cut off his recruitment of these units, that's going to be a big problem for Darren. Obviously, he has his reform units now. He'll get them like five turns too late, but he will get them. But even still, like, I think these guys will still be a stable part of his army, a stable part of the Macedonian army, right? Because the Carthaginian army, because they are all about their mercenaries. And yeah, as you can see, like, his missiles are still just turning up now. Like, they're just kind of like 4 or 5 minutes too late, as my lines are just thin as anything right now. Like, this is the point which will break. If anything right now, this is the point that will break. I luckily have 1 unit of pikes in reserve, and I think, yeah, I've had to commit my other unit. I think I brought this pike unit down from over here to kind of loosen up my defense here, but I had to bring them down as best as I can. And the fighting is just brutal. Yeah, I think all this cavalry is dead at this point as well, so just ignore that. Yeah, it's annoying the battle did desync, but I guess we are playing a little bit later from when this happened. But for the most part, the battle is playing out perfectly to how it did. Yeah, and I think in a second as well, I'm going to have to commit more of my archers over to this section as well. Like, all my Cretan archers are out of ammunition. They're going to have to go over there. This unit of pikemen might even have to commit as well. I mean, I'm really tempted, like, to put them over here as well, because Darren is coming in hard on this flank right now. I think he also has his pikemen here, or his hoplites are just pushing in. And yeah, you can see my numbers are dropping heavily, so I'm having to bring over a unit of my silver shields. And right now, more reinforcements turning up. 4 minutes left in this battle. He's going to continue to push. I think he's going to commit more men around this flank and try and breach me on this position as best as he can. And I mean, this unit of Seleucid Royal Guard, I kind of feel like this didn't happen in the actual replay and this unit died a lot quicker. Because I feel like, obviously, I wouldn't leave a gaping hole like this. I feel like this unit or a unit of pikes is here. But maybe not, Maybe I did leave a gaping hole in my formation. I can't imagine I did, though. So just imagine there is a unit of pikes. Probably this unit is probably here in the battle. I am repelling a large amount of his army, and yeah, everything out here is all dead. Like, anything that's not moving out here, it has died. So, you can just ignore that. But the battle is playing out, exactly the same, besides them. The grand scheme of the battle is playing out exactly the same. I think as well, I maybe have one less pike here as well at this point. And Darren was breaking through. I'm pretty sure he got some infantry, like, round this gap and was in. And that's just not showing it. But the timer is ticking out. Darren has 3 minutes left to go. He has now committed everything he has into this unit of pikes. There's barely anyone left. I'm rushing my general in now. I've got 3 minutes left to hold in this battle to, hold out the timer. But Darren is just throwing all of his reserves in. I think I go over here and pop a nice little rally to keep them in. He's also committing more men over here as well. Got some of his Apulians around the back of my formation. He must have, like, maybe pulled them through. To get around the side of me, but luckily these are silver shields, so they're going to hold the line. Over on this side as well, I've managed to kind of win, but he's got some of his Royal Guard right there, Sacred Band pushing him, breaking me down bit by bit. And the timer is ticking for him, but I'm running very low on infantry over on this side. I've got barely anything left. His missiles are now up as well, and they're just racking up loads of kills. You can see Darren is now managing to bring more men through in this section of the battle. I have managed to stop it with my last depleted unit of pikemen who have just charged in, dropped their pikes, supported by cavalry. There's anything in here to reinforce. But yeah, these Balearic Slingers are racking up kill after kill after kill on my men. It looks like I'm about to break over on this left-hand side. On this northern part, I'm running extremely thin on men. Like, these pikes are so low. I'm managing to win this fight, but look how many men he still has here. If they break through, it's over. And Darren is also overrunning me in this position right here as well. Pulling through some of his men, just breaking through my thin formation now. I just don't have the numbers to withstand this. And all he wants to do is get into the back of my pikes. And there you go, right there. Look, his pikes have broken through. But there is only a minute left. He really just needs to charge into the back of these pikes and just try and run everything in. My general is going to come down, and I am going to be able to clutch this one in the battle. The timer is going to run out. Spoiler alert. You can kind of tell at this point in the battle. But just look at it. Look at it. If Darren would have retreated his archers, look how many missiles he has coming onto the battlefield. If he would have got rid of his cavalry like a little bit sooner, because he still had like a fair amount of cavalry left at the end. I think like 5 units. If he would have retreated them, and I think he would have won. If he would have had 5 more minutes in this battle, he would have worn me down. Because this flank is broken, I have nothing to send here. This flank is getting overrun. This is holding, but as soon as his infantry come into the back, there's nothing I can do. I'm kind of winning on this side, and I'm kind of winning on this side, but again, all it takes is 1 unit to get through and it's over. And with these missiles, he could just shoot my pikes in the back, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about that. So, yeah, it was a pretty crazy battle. The time it is going to run out, and I'm going to claim victory, which is huge. Like, it basically doesn't guarantee me. It doesn't guarantee me to win in Greece, but it basically sends Darren back to Italy and forces him to have to rebuild in Italy and then come at me. Like basically I can take Pella, I can probably take Apollonia, I can deal with his allies in the north. And Darren has to basically just spend 3 or 4 turns, maybe even 5 or 6 turns rebuilding in Italy, ready to come at me again in Greece. And by that point, I should have a stronghold set up. I have my Spartan vassals in the south. I obviously also have Darren's allies in the north I have to kill, but having Sparta with 2 full stacks helping me out is pretty huge. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But winning this battle was absolutely insane. I think another 5 minutes and I would have easily have lost this one because of all of his archers coming on. I had no way to deal with them because I had no cavalry at this point. And that's basically, as I said, there might have been a few holes in the battle, but for the most part, that's exactly how the battle did play down. So yeah, make sure you tune in. The war has now started. Every Wednesday at 2 to 3 p.m. GMT is when we start. Make sure to tune in, check this bad boy out, because yeah, it's going to get insane now. We're fighting in Africa, the Mediterranean with ships, and also in Greece and Italy. Like, it's going to be such an exciting campaign, and I can't wait for all the outmaneuvering, all the outplaying, all the mind games, all the spies, all the back and forth. It's going to be so fun. And it's basically just going to be PvP the entire way now. My army versus Darren's armies constantly. So make sure you tune in, and I'll see you guys in the next one.